You ever have two cop cars tear up your driveway at 8 a.m., kicking up enough dust to make your coffee taste like sand? Yeah, that was me. I'm standing there in my old boots trying to figure out what apocalypse hit my ranch when I see her. Karen Mitchell. HO. A president from the next subdivision over clipboard clutched like a sheriff's badge, lips curled in that smile that says she thinks she's just fixed the universe. If you've never met a Karen like that, well, you're luckier than me. All I'd done that morning was back my brand new boat into the lake. My lake, by the way. I'm standing there looking at the sunlight hitting the water, thinking maybe retirement's not so bad when these two officers get out and Karen's marching behind them in pearls and a power walk sunglasses reflecting those spinning lights like she's in some kind of parade. Sir, the cop says, serious as can be, we received a report of an unauthorized watercraft violating community regulations. I almost choked on my coffee. Community regulations out here. I tell them straight up, this isn't their community. Karen's standing there acting like she's about to issue a citation for existing. What she doesn't know is in about half an hour the power she thinks she has is going to evaporate. You stick with me, I promise you'll want to hear how it ends. But let me back up for a second. Because if you don't know what it's like to deal with someone who thinks they own you, you will by the end of this. 5 years before all this, I'd sold my tech company, got out of that world, too much noise, too many meetings, not enough sky. I wanted to wake up to the sound of wind in pine trees, coyotes howling at night, the kind of peace money can't buy, but land just might. Found myself 100 acres with a blue lake that could stop your heart with how still it gets at sunrise. Named it Clearwater Ranch, built the house right on the edge porch all the way around so I could drink my coffee and watch the world wake up slow. Those first years. Heaven. Planted an orchard, fixed up a barn, made friends in town. The ranch backed up against a place called Silver Ridge Estates, where every lawn is a perfect rectangle, and the homeowners association runs things with an iron fist wrapped in pastel. And the queen of that castle, Karen Mitchell, always dressed like she's heading to a Senate hearing, blazer, pearls hair that doesn't move in a hurricane. She'd only visited me twice before the boat, both times to remind me my dirt road offended her sense of order. Once she shows up, says my gravel sets a bad visual precedent. I remind her politely as I can my land's not part of Silver Ridge. Her smile just freezes on her face, like maybe her face forgot how to move. We have to consider property value consistency, she tells me. I told her she and her board could keep their consistency on their own lawns, shut the gate in her face. Next spring, she tries to claim a dirt road by my lake as theirs posts a sign, Silver Ridge residents only. I mailed it back to her with a note. This road existed before your subdivision. Kindly stay on your side. I thought that did the trick. Then came the boat. Now look, this wasn't just any boat. It was the one thing I promised myself if I ever walked away from the grind, a 28-foot bass boat, whisper-quiet engine, shiny rails. Not for showing off, just peace. I planned to fish, maybe teach my nephew how to drive it when summer rolled around. I'm easing it into the water, the whole world still when I hear the crunch of gravel. There she is, standing on her side of the fence, phone pointed at me like she's taking evidence for a trial. Morning, I say, trying to keep it friendly. She doesn't answer, just stares at my boat like it's radioactive. Then she says, you can't park that thing here, on my own property, on my lake. I laugh, can't help it. She says it's an eyesore, violates their community's standards. Hers. I try to explain again, this isn't Silver Ridge. She gets all huffy, says my boat affects their view, their lakefront aesthetics, that I can't just dump a commercial vessel here. It's shining in the sun, not a fleck of dirt on it, but she's acting like I left a burning dumpster in her backyard. She threatens to call the police, the county, the zoning board. And then she actually does, puts them on speaker, says this is Karen Mitchell, HO, a president of Silver Ridge Estates. There's an individual launching an unauthorized vessel on restricted water. Says I'm disturbing the neighborhood. I laugh again, quiet, but not quiet enough. That sets her off. You think this is funny, she barks. I tell her a little yeah. 10 minutes later, sirens. The cops are as confused as I am. The older one, kind-eyes local, asks what's going on. Karen interrupts, thrusts her clipboard at him, says, my lake is under HOA jurisdiction. The guy's brain is visibly melting. Ma'am, this is private ranch property, he tries. She starts quoting environmental code sections, flipping through her papers like she's searching for a magic spell. I pull out my deed show, the Cop Lake's mine, 300 feet of shoreline, the whole works. He checks it, nods, turns to her. Ma'am, this is private land. Karen's face turns the color of a ripe tomato. She shifts to plan B. It's still unsightly. Ruins the view for homeowners. The younger cop is biting his lip not to laugh. She turns to me, says she'll file a complaint. Hisses that her husband owns the marina where I bought my boat. Maybe they'll make sure I never dock it again in this county. Now I know. This isn't about boats, it's about control. The cops wrap it up, apologize, and drive off. Karen stays seething. She tells me, this isn't over. I say I sure hope not. I hadn't felt a challenge like that since my business days. If Karen wanted a war, I was ready for it. For a few days, nothing. Then a letter, HOA. Stationary Silver Ridge Board notice signed President Karen Mitchell, as if that made her queen of the county. Says my marine vehicle is in violation of some shared lake access agreement. Threatens legal action. I almost spit my coffee. The kicker. We appreciate your cooperation as we maintain the harmony and beauty of our community. My community. I ignore it. Then another. And another. By the fifth letter, I keep them in a folder, Karen's greatest hits. A week later, I catch her down by the water tape measure and clipboard muttering to herself, I'm conducting a shoreline assessment, she says, on behalf of the Silver Ridge Environmental Subcommittee. I ask if that's her book club. She glares. I tell her to leave before I call the sheriff. Next day, a laminated violation notice zip-tied to my gate. Disturbing visual harmony demands I move the offending object. My boat. Now I start documenting everything, photos, videos, timestamps. She starts bringing back up first. Paul, her wiry vice president who looks like he irons his socks. Then the security volunteer, an old guy with a walkie-talkie who takes himself very seriously. They leave more paperwork, more threats. Finally, she shows up with county code enforcement claims I built an unregistered dock, polluted shared water. The officers are embarrassed but have to check. They poke around, check my maps, then apologize. Everything checks out. It's all yours. I turn to Karen. Told you so. She flushes red storms off. That's when I start digging. I check the county records. Turns out the HOA doesn't own so much as a puddle. Their legal boundaries stop 50 feet short of my shoreline. Then I check the marina. Owned by Mitchell Marina LLC, Karen and her husband. 3 years of back taxes, business loan on the edge. This wasn't spite, it was survival. If she loses authority, she risks losing her business. Suddenly all her threats make sense. I call up my lawyer buddy David, lay it all out. He grins, says I could buy the rope she's hanging herself with. We do some quiet moves. David talks to his bank contacts. Mitchell Marina's in trouble. The bank wants out. Within a few days, I buy their loan. Quietly, discreetly, just paperwork. And now I'm the one holding the note on her marina. In one move, I've got more leverage than she ever dreamed of. I call her up, say I want to resolve our property dispute. Invite her to a meeting at the marina. She shows up with her husband and lawyer, all bluster and fake confidence. They try to hit me with a settlement offer, $5,000 compliance fee. I laugh. Open my folder, slide the transfer docs across the table. As of yesterday, I own the debt your business owes. Karen's face drops. Tom's jaw clenches. Lawyer sweats bullets. You can't do this, Karen says. I already have, I tell her. You've got 30 days to pay or vacate. She threatens lawsuits. I shrug. You can't sue your lender. Tom mutters, you planned this. I tell him, not at first, but you forced my hand. I leave them sitting there, their little empire slipping away with every tick of the clock. Over the next week, the dominoes start to fall. The HOA board calls an emergency meeting. Residents file complaints. The county opens an inquiry into their finances. Turns out Karen's been using HOA funds to cover the marina's expenses, jacking up fees, bullying anyone who resisted. The board suspends her powers. She storms out shouting conspiracies, but no one listens anymore. Not long after I get official notice, foreclosure's done. The Marina Docks building's mine now. I keep every worker on payroll, fix the place up, put up a new sign. Clearwater Marina open to everyone. 2 days after reopening, Tom comes by, hands me his resignation from the HOA, and the marina says Karen's left town. Sold the house, vanished. He wants to stay on as dock manager. I shake his hand, tell him he's got the job. People talk about Karen for a while like a ghost story. The power's gone. The community breathes easier. The new HOA president, retired teacher, nice lady, stops by with muffins, says she wants to work together. No more fences, no more wars, just neighbors again. Some nights I sit on my porch, watch the moon on the water, and think about how it started, just a boat and a woman who couldn't stand to see someone else happy. Power does that to people. Sometimes it changes them, sometimes it just shows who they really are. I learned revenge isn't always about burning it all down. Sometimes it's about building something better in its place. So now the lake's peaceful. Kids laugh, families fish, the water's open. Karen's gone, but the lesson sticks. Stand your ground when someone tries to take what's yours. Power without accountability turns neighbors into enemies. But one person, just one, can stop it. You just have to say, no more. Have you ever dealt with someone like Karen? Someone who used rules as a weapon? Let me know. I'd love to hear your story. And if you made it all the way here, well, you know justice comes to those who wait, and karma never misses its mark.